It works. Okay, so this is the final video. The Lumos Maxima. It works, as you can see. See, no wires. No wires whatsoever. It's battery. Here is how it connects. You can see how it connects there, maybe? See a little flashing? You can see the line right there. These two pieces, cord comes out. You can see the setup. I have the negative springy thing, a wire running off of that that's been soldered to another contact that runs here. And then it touches this contact. You can see the battery inside. This contact here. And they touch each other. There's the little battery. And you put the two together. And it works. This, I should tell you. Now, you make this in two parts for a reason. So you get a nice thin hole here, but you get a fat hole here, what you need. I made this in a half-inch hole, even though this AAA battery is really small inside there, in case I want to use a bigger battery, a double A, one day. For whatever reason. I think that's all. And oh, there goes the battery. I'm gonna show you the inside, the switch. I want to show you how to wire the switch. I want to show you how to wire the switch, but I can't because all my tools are right behind me. So you take the switch out. Like I said, there's a bunch of wire in here I've jammed in there. You make this the negative and the other two the positives, or however. It's got to be two positives, one negative. Okay? All fits inside of there. Your battery then goes in here. You should glue this down. There's a wire that's connected. I ended up using different connectors, a wiring setup than previously described, I believe, in my other videos. I did something with the back. You get these two to line up. Now both of those connectors have been inset, one into the cork, one into the end of the handle, the butt end of the handle. This is all covered in tung oil now. I have several more coats to go. A lot of grain was exposed here, so it's absorbing a lot. This is also scrap wood, mahogany and cherry wood. Scrap wood out of my shop, and it's been sitting for a very long time, so it's really dried out. Here where I live in Montana here, it's really dry. There's almost no humidity. So it's soaking up a lot of this tung oil. I could have sealed it, I suppose, but I didn't have any pore sealer. So you can see I've shaped the cork much smaller, and the light is working. I move back, you can see. It's fun. Alright. So the sandpaper, the hole with the sandpaper in it, went between these two. The cork fit through that hole, and I just simply twisted and twisted and twisted until those two met. Really good. Really good. I carved off a lot of this and then shaped it with sandpaper afterwards, but I used a razor knife and shaved off huge chunks of that to get that done. You probably can't get too thin. Yeah, the holes are probably at their maximum, so it's a half-inch hole. And I had to drill from two ends, which is probably another reason how that got off a little bit. The handle is a solid piece of cherry that got turned. This is solid cherry. It wasn't ripped or cut to make that hole. This was just simply drilled with the drill press. This with the table saw, split in half. like I said in the other two. I'm just reviewing the last two videos. So, and the battery connectors also were different. I did change the wiring. Looks like this. I'm not a professional, but you may understand it as a result, because I had to make pretty pictures. I'll try to keep it in the frame this time. This is the cork. Here is the connector that's inset into the cork. Then the wire over to the negative spring, which is the connector, to the negative on the battery. This is the connector that makes contact on the inside over to the negative on the switch. Okay? This is the connector for the positive that touch. The two nipples touch here. Dimples, nipples, whatever. It's soldered down to here. This is also soldered. I soldered this here. And this slides in and out. This is soldered, and then this gets glued down. Okay, and then when this goes in, this compresses the two. These two wires, positive, and this positive is a different connection on that switch. But this negative goes to the same negative connection on that switch. Okay? Now, the cool thing is about me not having to take those connectors off, which I was really hoping I didn't have to do. And I didn't have to. They went back to back. I put a little bit of electrical tape around both, backed them up to each other, and they fit perfectly. This is an 1/8 inch by an 1/8 inch hole. So, you know, if you guys recycle the way I do, and you get wiring out of a computer, those should fit. The cool thing about this is I can take that light bulb out. That light will come out if it goes bad or something, and I can put it back in. And no. So there. And there. Okay? It works. Wife is happy. Very happy. Big points. Passed the coolness test for the kids. Right?
Yeah.
See? There you go. Lumos Maxima. But you can get pretty fancy with these. I think in the future this may actually, maybe another one, this would be even narrower here. You know, to really taper almost immediately. I like the hilt look. The cork is a great idea. This was beautiful. This using the champagne cork. It was perfect. There are other ways to do it, and you can make it look really cool with a jewel, some kind of plastic jewel or something on it. Put a piece of aluminum behind a plastic jewel, it really shines better. Etc., etc. You can get crazy with those. These little switches work great. This is the best way to do it. I still have to screw this down, as you've seen. But there's a bunch of wire in here. I twisted and packed it in there so I can really take this out almost a good 1.5 to 2 inches. Because if I really have to work on this, I want to be able to get everything out of the way. If I have to get inside, there's very little inside. As you've made basically a fancy flashlight. That's it. You can actually see in a dark house with this thing. It's kind of like it was in the movie when Harry was looking at the Marauders map, I believe. So yeah, this thing works really great. It does. Really works. See? You can see my eyes reflecting there. So, Lumos Maxima.